Okay, YouTube, this is going to be like the 6th time I've done this, so I'm going to try and ramble as fast as I can because I just want to get it done now. Good day and welcome to another episode of the Albino Rhino Beer Review. Today we're talking about the top beers in Ontario. On the 15th of October, we did a Beer Dweebs United where all the panel members came in with 2 top 10 lists. The top 10 lists for local to them, and by local we did your whole state, province, territory. So what we had was Alberta, Ontario, Ohio, New York, Pennsylvania, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia was where all of our panel members were from. We also did a top 10 overall beers from all of those people. In Ontario, there was 3 of us on camera. There was Greg, who is part of Beer Dweebs United quite often now, and is a loyal viewer. And he's a beer geek from Toronto. We had Old Man Murray, or Teku Murray, or Big E, the man behind strangebrewsings. You had myself. We had a list sent to us that we had Average Troll America read from the douchette because he couldn't be on camera that night. And we had a list sent to me by one of my old cast members, and all I'm going to tell you is Blue wasn't on the list, so it wasn't the douchette, it wasn't the Reverend, sorry, and no Michael Duggan beers were on there, so it wasn't from the Honey Monster. Anyway, we ended up with, out of the 50 beers, we ended up with 30 different beers, and by that I mean 30 beers that were unique. The way I did the rankings was if we agreed on a beer, if more than one person said the same beer, it moved up the list into a higher spot. So without further ado, the top 30 beers in Ontario, even though we're not beer writers, we're not beer bloggers, we don't run the Toronto Beer Blog or anything like that, so we don't matter, but we're still going to do it, right? Because who cares, right? Anyway, number 30. Grizzly Beer by Bellwoods. You're going to hear a lot of Bellwoods beers on here. Bellwoods makes some great beer, and there are a couple people from or around Toronto or are in Toronto a lot, so they can get a lot of these beers. Number 29 would be Silversmith's Strong Wrong Lambic number 1. Number 28, Refined Fools Short Pier Long Walk. Number 27, Flying Monkeys Orange Mungus. Oh, I love that beer. That one was mine. That was my number 10. 26, Block 3's Dead Now. 25, Bellwoods Motley Crew, which came out as one of their 1-year anniversary beers. 24, Five Paddles Midnight Paddler, probably one of the best black IPAs in Ontario. 23, Refined Fools Strike 4, which was a Belgian quad. 22, Nickelbrook's Immodest Imperial IPA. Beautiful Imperial IPA. It didn't even make my top 10. It was part of my short list, though, and it's a very good beer, and it's canned, and it's a good price. I wish their Malevolent had been a little better. 21, Bellwoods 3 Minutes to Midnight. Now, that's one that didn't make my even short list. I thought I was going to love it. It just wasn't really for me. Number 20, Bo's Bottle Imp. Beautiful Russian Imperial Stout by Bose. It actually was on my short list, and it's one of those things that one of those beers that reclaimed some faith in the brewery, because the brewery makes some amazing beers, and then they started making more down to earth, shall we say, beers, not as in your face beers, and then this came out, which was wow, back in your face. And I mean, whatever. 19, Great Lake Brewery, Karma Citra. I personally like the Karma Citra better than one that will come up later on. 18, Osthaus Bier de Garde. Not my thing. Big E loves it. That's awesome. It is a good Bier de Garde, though. It is very close to specs on what it should be. 17, Black Oak's 10 Bitter Years. Arguably the quintessential double IPA in Ontario. Arguably one of the best values for what you're getting in Ontario. And going to be done in a blind taste test by me between it, one that's a little cheaper, and 2 that are much more expensive, to see which one I actually like more. 16, Cameron's Deviator Doppelbock. Beautiful beer. Especially when you get the bourbon barrel-aged one. Which is probably what they're talking about on this. 15, Nickelbrook's Buff Cafe, which is the new name for their old coffee pale ale. Another beautiful, beautiful beer. 14, Five Paddles, a few of my favorite things. It's great to see breweries on here that are new, especially if they're on here more than once. Number 13, Bellwood's Roman Candle. That one is not my thing at all. It wasn't on my short list, wasn't on my short list. Uh, yeah, it's not my thing, but a lot of people love it. I get that they love it. It's great. It's made by a great brewery, and it is a good IPA. Number 12, Sawdust City's Bloody Long Voyage to Uranus. Takes Dark Voyage to Uranus and just amps it up, and I love it. Number 11, Bellwood's Bounty Hunter. I wasn't as fond of this as these guys, but I had the second brewing. I don't know if the first brewing was actually better. I was told by one guy that it wasn't as much more coconut as other people have told me. Everybody's palate's different, so whatever. Number 10, Great Lake Brewery's Thrust, an IPA. Now, that's the one that I said that I didn't like quite as much as the Karma Citra. It's still a very good beer, and it's number 10, and I think it was 3 people that agreed on that one. No, 2 people. 2 people. Number 9, Forked River's Golden Shard. Up and above everything else that Forked River does. I love that beer. It's an amazing beer. It's a great beer for people that have not had many vinous beers or many soured beers. It brings you into that realm and starts you off right. Beautiful beer to try. Number 8, Flying Monkey's BNL Stout. Now, this was a polarizing beer because everybody that said it, and there was 2 of us that said it, we both said the same thing about it, that it's not as tasty as their Chocolate Manifesto. Their Chocolate Manifesto is just a tastier beer, but it's easier to drink, and by that we mean that you could enjoy more of them more often. The Chocolate Manifesto is a great beer, but it's one of those beers where you'd have like one and not another one for a couple months, where you could have one of these and then one maybe 2 or 3 days later and not really think much of it. Number 7, Amsterdam's Double Tempest, and again, another beer that is easily the best beer made by that brewery. They do a lot of regular average things that are meh to just above meh. They're very drinkable. They're supporting local, and they are good. So it's not like we're just buying it because it's supporting local, but they do make some good beers. But their Adventure series and their Tempest and their Before the Storm, which is their mild version, and their Double Tempest are easily the best things they make. And of regular rotation, Bone Shaker is an amazing beer. It didn't make the list, however. Number 6, Bellwood's Donkey Venom. Now, we did this on the 15th. I had my bottle of Donkey Venom on the 16th. If I had it before we did this, it would probably be number 4 instead of number 6. Just because I would have added it to another person agreeing with it and moving it up the list. Beautiful beer. Brett barrel-aged beer. Brett barrel-aged porter. It reminds me a lot of Nickelbrook's Whiny Bastard, just a little less alcohol and a little less body. Very good beer, though. Number 5 is Bellwood's Number 5 is Black Oak's Epiphany number 1. Sorry, Ken. I was just looking and saw Bellwood's again, a few numbers above you, and it right below you, and my mind went, hey. Anyway, Black Oak's Epiphany number 1. Arguably, to me, the best quad in North America. The other person that voted on it, arguably to him, the best quad in the world that he's had, but he hasn't had as many quads as us. I think he said he had 5 to 10 of them. And to the cast member that had it with me, because we shared that second bottle, arguably one of the best beers he's ever drank, period. Number 4, Great Lake Brewery's Apocalypse Later. Now, that's one I haven't been able to get my hands on yet. Apparently an amazing beer. Apparently, from the 3 people that agreed on it, an amazing beer. I'm actually surprised that Beard of Zeus didn't make this list, because that was a lovely, lovely beer. And actually, to tell you the truth, the Beard of Zeus just kind of was lost by me. It didn't even make my short list. I don't know why. But thinking back on it, Beard of Zeus is another Great Lakes beer. Number 3, Muskoka's Winter Jack, which is their winter beer aged in Jack Daniel's barrels. An amazing beer again. The Jack Daniel's barrels just add to that chocolate cranberry so nicely. Number 2, Nickelbrook's Whiny Bastard. So Nickelbrook was only really on here 3 times, twice in the early goings. but then they made it to number 2 with Whiny Bastard. And number 1 from Bellwoods, agreed on by every single person on all 5 of us. Bellwoods, Bring Out Your Dead. All 5 of us had it in our top 10. Cognac barrel aged, Imperial Stout. I match them up to the big bourbon barrel aged stouts that come out of the U.S. I match it. I think it is better than KBS. I think it is better than Parabola. I don't for sure. I don't think for sure it's better than the Bourbon County brand stouts, which I know is, oh my god, it's an Anheuser-Busch product. But I don't. Those are very drinkable and kind of easier to get now than they used to be. I don't know if I'd put it above that, but it is easily a beer that competes with the big brand, well, big barrel aged, big ABV stouts of the U.S. And it does a good job at it too. I mean, when we did one time we did a top 5 Imperial barrel aged stout list, and everybody that did it that had drank that beer had it on there. Just we all had it at a different spot on the list. I know back then I had it as number 1, and then I had the other Bourbon County brand stouts, like the coffee stout and stuff like that, and then I was like, I don't know anymore. But everybody had it on that list. They just had it at a different spot on that list. And I mean, there's our list. What do you guys think of the list? Do you enjoy the list? Do you not enjoy the list? Yeah. To the breweries that have made those great beers, keep making those great beers. Keep doing it. To the breweries that didn't make it on the list, I'm sorry. Only a little bit. Again, not every beer has been drank in Ontario by all of us. We all have our different paradigms. Well, we have a different list of beers we've drank because of different spots in the province we are, and not many breweries have a great distribution network. So unless you're near the brewery or you have somebody that can swing by and grab you stuff, you're not seeing stuff from there. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I'm sorry I rambled on so long. Bye.